Today, we are really trying to cut through all the noise to get you financially fit. Our mission for this deep dive is pretty much straight up financial empowerment.
Right.
We've pulled together advice from, a whole range of experts in personal finance. And these are the people who actually built their own wealth, not just, talked about it.
And the craziest thing is how consistent their core principles are. They might package it differently, but the fundamentals, they're almost always the same.
Exactly. So what we're doing is giving you the foundational blueprint, how to get financial control and, start that journey to serious wealth accumulation.
And we have to start where every single successful financial journey begins, which is in your head, with the psychology of it all.
Okay, that makes sense.
You look at people, maybe friends or family, and they're making money choices that just seem, well, self-sabotaging. And you might think that's crazy, but the sources are so clear on this. No one is actually crazy.
No one is crazy.
No. Everyone's behavior is anchored to their own unique experiences. It's about the family they grew up in, the economy they experienced, and, sometimes just plain old luck.
That is a huge shift in perspective. What seems ridiculous to me, like, I don't know, overspending on a fancy car, it might make perfect sense to someone else because it's tied to their past. Maybe they're trying to prove something to their parents, or they're just compensating for, not having much as a kid.
Exactly. And our goal isn't to judge those anchors. It's to see them, to acknowledge them, so we can finally move past them.
So this is the shortcut.
It is. It's a shortcut to financial mastery. It's about moving you from that default setting where money controls your life to a place where you understand it and you command it. We tackle the psychological blocks, then we build the infrastructure, and then we set up the growth engine.
All right, let's jump right into the mental side then. The foundational principle here is actually pretty simple. It's that understanding money, not just how much you have, is what equals empowerment. You have to be willing to actually take the time to figure out your own relationship with money.
And for most of us, that relationship is, well, it's a little dysfunctional because we all have this inherited money blueprint.
A money blueprint.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. If you grew up and all you saw was your parents constantly fighting over bills, what does that teach you?
That money equals stress.
Money is drama. It's tension. It's conflict. It's not safety or opportunity.
Wait, okay, so if I grew up watching that conflict, how does that actually play out in my adult life? Like, what's a real scenario?
It creates this instinct to just avoid the source of the pain. So you don't open your bank statements. You never check your balance. You put off making a budget because subconsciously doing those things feels like you're starting the drama you saw as a kid. It's a massive self-inflicted hurdle.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. And then there's this thing the sources call the victim trap.
Oh, yeah. This is huge.
If you find yourself saying things like, oh, money's not that important, or, well, the system's rigged anyway, that's just a psychological defense, isn't it?
It's a way to make failure feel less stressful.
Yeah.
You're playing the victim. But the absolute #1 prerequisite for financial success is accepting control. You have to believe you are the one driving your success, not that you're just a victim of circumstance.
Okay, so once you accept that control, you move on to the big action item, conscious spending.
Yes.
This is the opposite of just reacting to whatever's in your bank account. It means you decide intentionally where every single dollar is going to go before you spend it.
No more guessing at the end of the month. You already know. And the easiest way to put this into practice is using the 4 buckets. It's a simple, sustainable plan based on your take-home pay.
So bucket number 1 is your fixed costs. This is your rent, your mortgage, debt payments, utilities, all the must-pays.
Right. And the advice is to keep this between 50 and 60%. If you're consistently over 60, you're living beyond your means. That's your first priority. Shrink that bucket.
Got it. Then bucket 2.
That's investments. You're aiming for 10% of your take-home pay here. This is for your 401k, a Roth IRA, the wealth building stuff.
And bucket 3 is savings goals, another 5 to 10% for things like your emergency fund or a down payment on a house.
Crucial non-negotiables, yeah.
And then the last one, which might be the most important for just staying sane, is the guilt-free spending bucket.
I love this one.
It's 20 to 35% that you set aside for fun, for dining out, for shopping, whatever. And the power of it is psychological, right? Once you've paid your bills and paid your future self, you can spend this money without any remorse. It prevents burnout.
And to make all this work, you need the zero-sum budget.
Yeah.
This is the mechanical part. You take your income, let's say it's $4,000 after taxes.
Yeah.
You then give every single one of those dollars a job, including saving and investing. When you're done, your income minus your expenses should equal 0.
So you're not leaving any like stray money just floating around waiting to get spent on something random. You've accounted for all $4,000.
Precisely. And the ultimate goal here, the way you really win, is to build up enough of a buffer so you can pay this month's bills with last month's income.
Ah, that's how you break the paycheck to paycheck cycle.
That's it. That's when you start to feel truly secure.
So here's a great practical tip from the sources to get started on this. It's called the a la carte method.
Uh-huh.
You look at all your subscriptions, Netflix, the gym, Spotify, and you cancel all of them.
All of them.
All of them. And then for 1 month, you force yourself to buy them individually. Pay per movie, buy day pass at the gym. It forces you to feel the true cost, and then you can intentionally decide which ones you actually value enough to resubscribe to.
Okay, so we've got the mindset, we've got the spending plan. Now we need to talk about the infrastructure. Let's start with beating the banks. Most people just stick with a terrible bank account out of habit. You have to demand more.
And first, you got to remember that banks aren't just, keeping your money in a vault somewhere. They're using it. So security first. Always, always check that your bank is member FDIC insured.
Absolutely non-negotiable.
That guarantees your money up to $250,000. If you can't find that logo easily on their website, just leave. It's not a secure place for your money.
Right. And when you're picking a checking account, you need 3 things. No monthly fees, no minimum balance to avoid fees, and ideally, they should pay you back for out-of-network ATM fees.
I mean, if your bank is charging you $10 a month just to hold your money, that's $120 a year you're just lighting on fire.
For nothing. And for savings accounts, please avoid the big national banks that are giving you 0.01% APY. That is functionally zero.
So what's the better strategy?
You open a separate, online, high-interest savings account. The separation is key both financially and psychologically.
Why psychologically?
Because if your savings aren't just one click away, if it's not a simple internal transfer, you are much, much less likely to dip into it for some impulse purchase.
Yeah.
You get a better interest rate, and you create a barrier against yourself.
That's smart. Okay, next up, credit. A strong credit score is, it's basically an insurance policy. I hope you don't need it, but when you do, man, it prevents a world of pain.
It really does. And for you, the listener, the only place to get your genuinely free credit reports each year is annualcreditreport.com. Just ignore all the catchy jingles from the other sites.
So let's break down the score, what actually goes into it.
Okay, so the sources are pretty clear on the big drivers. Your payment history, that's the biggest chunk at 35%.
Makes sense. Pay your bills on time.
Right. Then, how much you owe your credit utilization, that's 30%. And the length of your credit history is another 15%.
I want to stop on that utilization rate because a third of your score is huge. What exactly is it?
It's just the ratio of how much credit you're using versus how much you have available. If it's high, it looks like you're relying too much on debt to get by, which is risky to lenders.
So what's the rule?
Keep it under 30%. But honestly, if you can get it into the single digits, below 10%, that's where you really start to see the benefits.
So if I have a $10,000 credit limit, I should try to keep my balance below $1,000 when the statement closes.
Exactly. Or just ask for a credit limit increase to lower the percentage.
Right.
And look, the #1 rule with credit cards is non-negotiable. Paid off on time and in full every single month.
And we should say, using a credit card is actually safer than a debit card, isn't it?
Oh, way safer. A debit card gives a thief direct access to your bank account. Credit cards have much, much stronger legal fraud protections. Plus, a debit card doesn't help you build a credit history.
Right, which is the whole point.
And finally, on debt. When you're attacking it, whether you use the snowball method or the avalanche method, the single most effective step is automation. Set up automatic payments for more than the minimum.
That little increase can have a massive impact, can't it?
It's huge. The sources show an extra $100 or $200 a month can cut your payoff time by years and save you thousands in interest.
Okay, here's a really important warning. A financial time bomb, really. If you're thinking about a balance transfer to a 0% APR card.
You have to know the difference between waived and deferred interest.
Okay, break that down for us. It sounds complicated.
It's actually simple. Deferred interest is like a retroactive penalty. If you don't pay off the entire balance in the promo period, they charge you all the interest going back to day one. It's brutal.
Wow.
You want waived interest. With waived interest, if you have a balance left at the end, you only start paying interest on that remaining balance moving forward. Always, always look for waived interest.
All right, now for the exciting part. Wealth accumulation. Long-term investing. And first, we have to draw a really clear line between being rich and having wealth.
They are not the same thing.
No. The true measure of your financial success isn't your income. It's not your paycheck. It is your net worth, your assets minus your liabilities.
And the single biggest ally you have in growing that net worth is time.
Compound interest.
It's the magic of compounding. It favors the young because the longer your money has to grow, the more your interest starts earning its own interest. It's an exponential curve.
There's a perfect example in the sources, this guy Marshall. He's 25. He starts putting $250 a month into his 401k. His employer matches $125 of that, so that's $4,500 a year. With an 8% return over 40 years, he retires with over $1.16 million.
An amazing result. But what happens if he waits?
If he waits just 10 years until he's 35 to start saving the exact same amount, he ends up with about $600,000 less. He lost over $500,000 just by delaying for a decade.
Time is your most valuable asset, period.
So if you're ready to start, what's the order of operations? The investing ladder. Step 1 is the easiest decision you'll ever make.
The 401k match.
Contribute at least enough to get your full employer match. Why is that so important?
It's free money. If your employer offers a 50% match, that's a guaranteed 50% return on your money instantly. You cannot get that anywhere else. Do not leave free money on the table.
Okay, step 2. Crush high-interest debt. We're talking credit cards at 18%, 25%, that kind of thing.
Right. That debt is compounding against you. It's almost impossible for your investments to outperform that kind of interest rate. Pay it off.
What about lower interest debt, like a mortgage?
That's more of a gray area. If your mortgage is at, say, 4% and you're young, you could argue for investing the extra cash. But honestly, most experts still say just pay off all the debt first. The peace of mind is worth it.
And then step 3 is funding a Roth IRA to the max.
The beauty of the Roth is that your earnings grow and can be withdrawn completely tax-free in retirement. That is a massive, massive advantage later in life.
So once you have that handled, how should you actually invest? And the consensus, even from guys like Warren Buffett, is the index fund revolution.
The simple path to wealth.
Yeah. So why index funds? Why not try to pick the next hot stock?
Because simplicity wins. Index funds are passively managed. They just track an index like the S&P 500. They don't have a team of expensive analysts, so they're incredibly low cost.
And why does that little fee, the expense ratio, matter so much?
Because even a 1% difference in fees can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars over 40 years. It's a huge drag on your returns. Index funds are also self-cleansing. Bad companies fall out of the index, good companies come in. You're always owning the best of the economy automatically.
Buffett's advice was what, 90% in a low-cost S&P 500 index fund?
And 10% in short-term government bonds.
Yeah.
His point is that investing should be methodical, calm. He said it should be as fun as watching grass grow.
It's about time in the market, not timing the market.
You got it. And the people who actually do this, who build this quiet wealth, research on what they call prodigious accumulators of wealth shows they aren't who you think they are. They're frugal.
So the flashy sports car stereotype is mostly a myth.
Mostly, yeah. The data shows they're driving paid-for cars that are a few years old. They live in middle-class homes. They're way more motivated by financial security than by keeping up with the Joneses.
And speaking of that, there's a serious warning in the sources about financial dependency, this idea called economic outpatient care.
EOC, right. This is when parents give adult children large cash gifts, like a down payment on a house.
And there's a downside.
A big one. There's an inverse correlation. The adult children who get these big gifts tend to invest far less of their own money and become more reliant on getting more help later.
Why does that happen?
It removes the need for personal resourcefulness. You don't get that psychological reward of working, saving, and achieving something on your own. You learn to rely on the safety net instead of building your own.
So we've mapped out the whole journey from, tackling the psychological blocks and accepting control, all the way to setting up an automated, low-cost investment engine.
And just as a final thought, we have to bring this back to your time, to your freedom. The data shows that when a lot of people get more wealth, they just buy bigger stuff. But then they have to work longer and harder to maintain that lifestyle.
The benefits just cancel out.
Right. You end up just as stressed as before, but with a bigger house. The real path of freedom is understanding the difference between being rich and being wealthy.
Okay, what's the difference?
You see a person's richness. It's the loud, visible stuff, the cars, the vacations, the expensive schools.
But you don't see their wealth.
You do not. Wealth is quiet. It's hidden. It's the fully funded retirement accounts, the index funds that are just silently growing in the background. Your goal should be to build that quiet, hidden accumulation that nobody else can see, because that is what buys you true freedom. That's what buys you back your time.